Now I know paying $1,000 a month to own something like a Subaru Forester sounds absolutely absurd, and indeed it is. It's totally nuts. But today I'm going to share the breakdown of the cost, what we've paid for it, because I know a lot of you guys have been wondering. I know a lot of you guys are just interested in that type of material, and me myself, I kind of like numbers. I like to know the math behind things. So I'm going to share a lot with you guys today, at least as much as I can. And if you appreciate that, if you appreciate the openness, the honesty of what I'm about to share, please consider liking this video. That will let me know that you maybe want to see more stuff like this in the future. And with that said, comment your thoughts and opinions below throughout the video, but also share the craziest car payment that you guys have ever had and the craziest car payment you've ever heard of anyone else ever having. Thank you. Welcome back, guys, or if you're new to my channel, this is Automotive Anonymous, and that's our brand new 2025 Subaru Forester Premium. I'm currently filming this in June of 2024 because whenever Subaru releases a new generation of vehicle, they really pushed it out pretty early, about a half year before the actual year that the production year is listed as. But anyways, this video is about sharing how much we're paying for it. So I'm going to include the interest, the insurance, the breakdown as much as I can of dealer fees, the warranty that we bought on top of it, and the trade-in from our previous car as much as I can share with you guys. We are going to start easy, and we're going to work our way into it, and then we'll get into the juicy deets in just a couple minutes. First of all, we're going to start with insurance because that's a pretty easy one, and I know this rate changes and varies a lot for different people depending on your accident history, how many things you have insured, a lot of other factors. But Subarus in general, they're not often crashed, they're not often stolen, and there's not a lot of deaths per 1,000 accidents. So Subarus in general are pretty cheap. For instance, my 2022 Subaru Outback, that insurance rate is somewhere in the mid $60 per month range. But this replaced a 2016 American sedan that brand new cost around the low $20,000 ballpark back then. So when we sold it just recently, it really wasn't worth a whole lot of money. But this new Forester, a 2025, is only about $17 more per 6 months than the old car, totaling out to be about $77 a month for insurance for full coverage, and really good full coverage with a reputable brand for this brand new Forester. And I can't complain too much about that. And when this deal was happening, we traded in that Chevy sedan and we still got well over $6,000 for it. That paired with the tax credit put this at almost a $7,000 discount on this new one, which again, for paying just a little bit over $20,000 8 years ago, I feel like, you know, that should have been a wash. We got our money's worth out of it, but to have a pretty decent down payment on this just from trading in the old car, the one that we were ready to say goodbye to, I feel like that was a pretty big win in my book. And because this is a premium trim level that starts around $32,000 after destination, after the few options that this one has, and then we really wanted to reserve one that had the blind spot monitoring package, that was an extra $1,200. So the overall window sticker on ours was $35,000 and just over 500 bucks. So I feel like that's a pretty fair deal for how much you're getting the value of this vehicle, especially where it's probably going to be a top safety pick plus, and it has phenomenal all-wheel drive, and it was just a huge upgrade and exactly the vehicle that our family needs right now. But $35,500, and I can't share exactly the discount the Twin Falls Subaru gave me, but just know this is common knowledge, so I'm not spilling the beans exactly on this, but you can look up the difference online of some vehicles between their invoice, which is kind of the rough estimate of what you think the dealership probably paid for it, and MSRP, which is what the manufacturer, the people who produce this and design it, who make the window sticker, suggest the dealership should sell it for. So it was a little bit under MSRP, but heck, everything that Twin Falls Subaru sells is under MSRP. So I just can't share the exact discount, but they definitely took care of me. And then another tip and a trick that I have for you guys, especially if you've owned other Subarus in the past, but even if you haven't, still give it a try, is call Subaru of America their customer service line. Personally, after having 3 different brand new vehicles, I've had way more than 3 new vehicles, but from 3 different manufacturers, Subaru customer service is hands down the best one. And every Subaru I've had, I've basically been able to get a $500 rebate from the manufacturer. So I was able to call Subaru of America, let them know that we're about to buy our 3rd Subaru and do they have any loyalty coupons, and within the hour I had one emailed to me. So that was another big discount on this new one. And even though we've both known for a couple years that it was getting close to when we need to sell the old car and get something that's bigger, safer, all-wheel drive, all those things, we've known that for a while, but it's still hard to let it go, especially when that was the first brand new car that she had bought for herself. And because we had that one for 8 years, and the last year or two, even though it ran perfectly, there's literally been nothing wrong with it, and I've done all the maintenance that it's needed myself, I still don't want to have to deal with replacing a turbo, replacing the engine, if the transmission starts slipping, like anything could happen when a vehicle is starting to get 8 years and older. So with this one, we did buy the 10-year, 100,000 mile warranty. There's quite a variety of the warranties that you can buy from the Subaru Gold membership warranty program. Between mileage and years, there's a number of combinations that you can have. But basically, we want to keep this for 10 years. In 10 years, in my opinion, this will be worth $0. Physically, it'll probably be worth similar to what I'm posting on the screen, and then count that for inflation, because that's what a 10-year-old Forester is worth right now. But in my mind, after 10 years, I feel like we'll have gotten our worth out of this, because if it's kept her safe, it's done its job, but it will still be worth something. So at that point, we can trade it in for the next family vehicle, or we could just drive it until the CVT fails or whatever gives out. But basically, I don't want any expenses out of pocket. And what's so cool about the Subaru Gold member warranty program is it doesn't just do the powertrain, but also extends the bumper to bumper, which is a huge deal because that usually runs out in 3 years. This now is covered for 10 years. So if the sunroof starts leaking, it's covered. If anything else that's not a wearable item happens, it's covered. Plus, if the CVT goes out in 9 years and it's a $9,000 bill, we pay a $100 deductible. So basically, there's a variety of warranties that you can have if you guys are considering one. I will say that the retail price on the 10-year 100,000, depending on which model you have of Subaru, it could cost $3,000 MSRP, but I can't share the exact specifics of the deal that we got. Just know that kind of like the invoice MSRP scenario, there is some wiggle room, so don't just take the first offer you're getting. Maybe call around, maybe call some other dealerships and say like, hey, this dealership offered me this warranty for this price. Can you beat it? Can you do a couple $100 better? Because you might just luck out, you might just get a deal that you're happy with, which I am not the type of person who ever thinks you should have to pay for an extended warranty. But knowing where we don't want to upgrade this car, we don't want to pay for it again for at least 10 years, I figured with the great deal that we were getting, it's absolutely worth it. And originally we were thinking we would just do the 8-year, 80,000 mile warranty because the 10-year is quite a bit of a price jump. But the reason for that is from the 8-year, you're only getting 5 years of bumper to bumper coverage and 3 more years of powertrain. When you go to the 10-year, you're getting 2 more years of each. So sure, of course, it's going to be a 30 or 40% increase in price over the 8-year warranty. And honestly, I'm so happy that we did. And now for a little bit more of the meat and potatoes. So again, if you haven't already liked this video and you're still listening, please like it because I'm being pretty open, I'm being more honest and exposing a little bit more than I usually do since my channel is pretty shut down and it's pretty much point of view, anonymous type of filming. But anyways, we don't have any debt, at least we didn't before we bought this. I paid off the 2023 Miata about 4 months ago. I wrote a giant check for that. Prior to that, it had a 0.90% interest rate, so basically no interest. I paid on it for almost a year, and then I wrote the big check to get rid of it. That was also a 36-month loan. Basically, I don't like debt. I hate debt. Back in college, I watched way too much Dave Ramsey. I learned about the baby steps. I learned about running from debt like a deer runs from an arrow. And basically, I've been trying to stay out of it, paying everything off since then. And we do have the ability to pay cash for this. We could have paid cash written a check at the dealership, but after paying off the Miata, writing such a big check just about 4 months ago, I really just wanted to wait at least 3 more months before we actually write this off. Maybe as much as a year. I guess we'll just kind of see what happens over the next few months. But it's not because I'm making oodles of money on YouTube. It's because my wife and I, we budget, we plan ahead, we make good decisions for what we know what to do, and we both have professional careers. So outside of YouTube, like this is not what's happening here. It's just normal people with normal jobs. We both went to college, and thankfully we both have a decent idea of what we want to do and how we want to budget things. But this is being financed for 36 months because that's the lowest interest rate you could have. And when we were deciding on if we get a 2024 Forester or 2025, I was quoted having over an 800 credit score, that we should be able to qualify for a 1.9% APR. And so then when we were signing the papers, I didn't realize that that was the quote for the 2024 before we actually decided that we were going to get a 2025. So the cheapest rate on this, at least when we signed, was 4.9%, which is probably the highest loan interest rate that I have ever had. And I know I'm just complaining, like that's a first world problem. That's really not that high, all things considered. But in my mind, again, watching way too much Dave Ramsey, 4.9% feels horrible. That's over $100 a month for this first year that you're going to be paying in interest. Although paying the interest does give you the convenience of having the vehicle now, not having to write, a $30,000 check or whatever your vehicle costs. And basically, I didn't want to pay any repairs on the old car. So I was okay knowing like, okay, for a few months, we'll get back into debt just to play it safe, to not touch our emergency fund and things like that. And we'll see how it feels. And I just kind of wanted to do my own little adventure of, after being debt free, getting back into it briefly, just to see how I feel, to see if it still feels like such a burden on my shoulders, or if it's really not that bad, because I know we're not having to pay mechanical repairs on the old car. We're paying for something that is way better, way safer. That has been shown even in the forums over the last couple weeks to save plenty of people's lives. So we trust the Forester. The payments are going to be short. Even if we wrote out the loan, it's 36 months. Max interest that will be paid is a little bit over $2,000. And for the convenience of what that is, knowing that the safety is here, and if you get in an accident in this, you might have just saved your hospital deductible and all the inconvenience and all the injuries. I feel like that's worth it. So to wrap this video up, because I know I've been rambling on for quite a while, this vehicle MSRP'd for $35,500. I got $500 off from Subaru of America. I got quite a hefty discount from Twin Falls Subaru. But it's not just me, I'm not just the lucky one. They will also ship vehicles to you, and they'll give you a hefty discount too. And then we added the 10-year warranty, and that was a pretty good charge added onto this. But then with the dealership fees, the doc fees, the title fees, that was under $500 further added on. And then financing it at 4.99%. Again, we'll probably pay it off pretty quick, but even if we decide to let the loan ride out, which I know mentally I won't do that, this is just over $900 a month for the car payment. That paired with the insurance, with the gas we're going to be spending, it's over $1,000 a month for a Subaru Forester, and that's how we got here. But it's of course easier to preach than to practice, and if we had any other debt, if we had lived our lives differently, I would have never accepted basically $1,000 a month for a freaking Subaru Forester. That sounds insane, it really does. But when you don't owe anything, when you don't have any other loans, no credit card debt, nothing like that, you know, it's manageable. It's just an inconvenience. It's not a catastrophe. It's insane to me that over half of people in America, in this first world country, are living paycheck to paycheck. I know our lives are great. I know that there's a lot that we have access to: healthcare, running water, you know, shelter, so many things that we need to be grateful for. But I do want to just leave this video saying, in addition to there's going to be a bunch of 2025 Forester videos coming soon, that I'm not in support of car payments. I barely even decided to finance this versus just paying it off. We had been preparing and planning for this one for a couple years. We knew it was coming. This wasn't a surprise. It wasn't a spur of the moment splurge. Vehicles are honestly basically the only thing in life that I even splurge on to begin with. So I like to drive safe ones. I like to drive nice ones. Heck, my day job is doing physical therapy, so I've worked with people in car accidents. I value safety. I value what Subarus are known for. And don't get into debt over a vehicle, because especially if you're even paying as little as 5% interest like we are in this one, and the first year you're going to be paying probably about half of your payment is going to be going to interest, depending on how long your loan could be, if it's like a 7-year loan. And in the first year, you're going to lose 20% of the value of the vehicle. So you really do not want to quickly get underwater on a vehicle. It's silly. Future you is not going to be happy with present you. And with that said, I wish you guys the best. I hope this video is informative and helpful and, you know, gave you a little bit of insight, and I hope it didn't come across the wrong way to you guys. With that said, like this video, comment your thoughts and opinions below, subscribe if you haven't already, and you want to watch a lot of vehicle reviews and Subaru content. And with that said, take care, guys.